public facilities is kind of generally what most of this is about. And I think just for clarification, or just a thought experiment, let's say we all decided it's a horrible idea and we said, no, we're not going to allow that. Is according to the state law, we're not allowed to. I mean, because sometimes these things come down and it's like there's the parsing out of what is the state requirements and then what is more filtered through our own code.
Right. The way that we read this is it's a mandate that the city has to allow this if they meet the ownership or zoning criteria. And it has been in effect since January 1st of 2022. So it's almost 3 years old at this point. And so it is already allowable. I think what we're trying to do is, and then we'll get back to the point of where's the public good in this, is to put regulations that we have to follow at the city level into our local ordinances so that people don't have to hunt and peck through state statutes to know what they can do or can't do. That it's all in our development code. This is where we want to point people and be able to answer questions at the front counter if people have these kind of questions about what we have to allow locally. So I think that is a public benefit to have it in our code, even though it is required by the state.
Yeah, I mean, I think you sort of asked this, Scott, or alluded to it, but the statute says, and this is state law, a local government shall allow affordable housing if the proposed affordable housing is on property that is, and then it lists a bunch of things, and one of them is owned by a public body. And these are ors, they're not ands, or zoned for commercial purposes to allow religious assembly or as public lands. So if any one of those things applies, we, the local government, have to allow development of affordable housing on it. And that's what the legislature has told us. I think some of what is happening, and this happens often, is legislature's busy. People aren't necessarily paying attention to what's going on during the legislative session because it's complicated and it's way up here. And then the state legislature decides things and passes new laws, and then we at local government level have to implement them, and that's when they kind of light up for people. And there was probably really good policy discussion to have during the legislative sessions where SB 8 and I think HB 3151 were debated and adopted, but now we're here having to deal with them, and most of that policy debate has already happened. So that's what we're trying to catch up to.
And I appreciate that it is a lot to try to digest, and this is implementing multiple bills that were passed over the last couple of years. And so it is a lot of changes to the development code, but as Colin mentioned, we're doing the best we can to interpret the state law and apply it within our local regulations. And so that our best interpretation of zoned as public lands is public facilities.